Welcome back to FM Story. We begin season 13 of the South American Glory Hunt safe, still with Atletico Mineiro. Probably one final attempt with them to win the Copa do Brasil. Hopefully we go better than we did last season where we went out at the first stage, but without further ado, let's get into the action. So, we're into April and it's time for the Copa do Brasil to come round for another year. We've got a much better draw this season than we did last season in that we don't have a top division club this season, whereas last season we had Vasco da Gama and we all know how badly that ended last season. Transfer-wise, there's been quite a bit of action. In terms of the outgoings, we've not really sold anyone that was part of the first, or was going to be part of the first team setup. There's a couple of players gone out on loan. A lot of players have gone on free transfers because they weren't going to be good enough. And then the incomings, we start with having turned the Lucas Daniel loan deal from last season into a permanent deal. To be honest, 1 million for a backup centre-half who performed pretty well when he came into the team and when he was required. Seemed a bit of a no-brainer, especially at just 23 as well. And then the rest of the incomings. So we did require replacing Marco Aurelio because there was no chance of us getting him back on loan. So first of all, a deal which was actually done before the end of last season, we went to Palmeiras and put in an offer for Sullivan Foscaldi, who is just 18 years old, but looks like he's going to be an absolute monster. His finishing isn't great, so I'm not sure I see him as an out-and-out centre-forward. When we signed him, he was more of a attacking midfielder, which is where we have played him so far. And, I mean, he's put 5 games in the state championship, got 2 goals, decent average rating as well. Definitely more a potential that hopefully towards the end of the season can pay off when we're needing that depth in the squad. And then we brought in a bit of experience. So we went back to Internacional for a player we signed right at the very start of the save in Alexander Aravena. He is 34 years old, but he is still a quality player. I think he's played in 9 games in all competitions for us. 5 goals, 2 assists, decent average rating. Can play up front, can play behind the front man, which is where we've been playing him. And we've been playing him in the advanced playmaker role in the number 10, which has freed up Lima to go to the shadow striker position that Marco Aurelio was playing last season. And Lima hasn't looked back either. So it's kind of been a bonus on in both accounts there. And then we did lose some players who retired in the defensive area of the pitch. Gustavo Martins retired. Lucas Caligari, who was going to be the backup right back behind Dimas, retired as well. So we've brought in Jan Couto, 34, so getting on a bit, but still has decent natural fitness, not particularly quick anymore, but can still do a job on that right-hand side. Has played quite a lot for us and has done a cracking job, to be perfectly honest, when he has played. So we've had the state championship, and as per usual, the group stage was pretty comfortable. 4-1, 3-0, a 2-1 victory away at Cruzeiro in sort of the first test, followed up by an 8-0 victory away from home, a 5-0 victory at home, 5-2 at home. We beat America 6-0 at home, which is a big one. And then we beat Ipatinga 3-0. So we won every game in the group stage, finishing top and as the number 1, the highest seed in it. We then went into the semi-final, again against Villanova for the 3rd season running, and wasn't particularly impressed by the performance in the home leg. We drew 0-0. We did have an interesting selection issue around about this time. But then the second leg, a comfortable 3-0 victory away from home, saw us into the final against Cruzeiro. Now, you can see actually from just looking at the lineup that we had, particularly like the fact that Beraldo was starting the centre half alongside Vladimir. There was no Nick Silva. There was no Aravena. We were missing quite a few players for that first leg of the final on international duty. Luckily, they were all back for the second leg. We came away with a 4-1 victory thanks to a hat-trick from Lima to win our third successive state championship. We've also played the Supercopa de Brazil that we ended up really coming from behind. We were helped by their sending off, but they were 2-0 up. And we ended up with 2 goals in the last 5 minutes to come away with a 3-2 victory there. The Copa Libertadores, on paper, we've got a pretty straightforward group. We beat Olimpia 2-0 away from home in the first game. We won 4-0 against Jorge Wilstermann in the second game. Then we went away to Municipal and were pretty rubbish and lost 2-0 before beating them in the return fixture 5-1. And we've played one game in the league so far, and again, we kind of didn't really impress. We came away with a 0-0 draw against our former club, Internacional. But now we turn to the Copa de Brazil. First leg away against Brasiliense. Hopefully we can go better than we did last season where we went out at this stage. But we could do with a decent performance just to lay down a marker. So this is the side we've picked for the first leg. It's pretty much what has been our best performing lineup this season, with the exception of we've gone with Ndondo through the middle rather than Negredo. Now, if we were going based on form, it would be Negredo. And Ndondo, despite a promising start to his career with us at the end of last season, hasn't really done an awful lot this season, but he was away early on through the African Cup of Nations, and he was away again when we got to the final of the state championship for international duty as well. So we'll give him this game against a lower division side and hope that it can kick him into a bit of form. Right, so we've got the same formation that we've been using the last season and a half. They've got a 4-2-3-1. Right, Aravena with an early free kick for us, lifts it into the box. Perez with a header, and it just loops over the top. A long throw for them. We've got a head on it. Perez now with it at the back. Silva into Niagu, who overruns it with Lima, tidies it up. Niagu, Landazuri with a lovely ball to find Dimas on the right. Low cross, and somehow from 2 yards out, and Ndondo's missed. Right, a corner from the far side. Aravena to take it. Lifts it to the back post. It's headed clear. Niagu, can we get it back in the box, please? Wins a corner on the other side. This time Ndondo to take it. Drives it into the near post. Landazuri got his head on it. Straight into the keeper's hands. The game's quieting down. It's just they've started to get a lot more possession than they had early on. And there we are, half-time 0-0 after that flurry of highlights early on. Not much in the rest of the first half to go by, but I mean, we've got an XG of 1.71 and we haven't scored yet, or haven't really looked like, apart from that one, the Ndondo one, which I think must have been given as offside since we didn't get a corner for it. But yeah, we've got work to do. Right, we've sent the same thing out for the second half. I mean, Ndondo is a concern. That 6.1 average rating isn't filling me with a great deal of hope here. And Vladimir into Niagu. They're letting him drive forward with it. Finds Ndondo in the box. And he drags it wide of the target. Right, we've made a few changes. We brought Mismar Silva and Fuscaldi on for Lima and Ndondo and shoved Aravena through the middle. and we've done a swap at right back and brought Couto on for Dimas, and we've very, very nearly ended up going behind immediately afterwards. This is not promising at all. XG of over 2, and we haven't scored. And we're into the last couple of minutes now. And there we go, full time, 0-0. Somehow we haven't scored. And we've made life infinitely more difficult for us than it probably needs to be in the second leg. So it's now time for the second leg against Brasiliense, and we've got some work to do. Obviously, a 0-0 in the first leg against a lower division team isn't great, but hopefully the home advantage sees us through. Since the first leg, we played 3 games, 2 in the league, 1 in the Copa Libertadores. First up in the league, we beat Sampaio Correa 4-0, pretty comfortable. We then won 3-0 at home against Olympia in the Copa Libertadores. And then we did choose to rest a few players in the most recent league game, but came away with a 1-0 victory away at Coritiba. What it means as far as the league's concerned is we're actually top of the table with 7 points from 3 games. But obviously we've only played 3 games, so it doesn't really make much of it's not really that important at this stage. Copa Libertadores, we've got 12 points from 5 games. We're already qualified through to the next round, guaranteed to finish top of the group as well. And things are going pretty well, and obviously Santiago Garcia has been outstanding with an average rating of 8 through those 5 games so far. But now we turn to our attention to the game against Brasiliense. In the game against Coritiba, Niagu and Ndondo picked up injuries. If anything, they would be on the bench in this game. They're not going to be fit enough to start, certainly. But we need to put in a performance because we need to go better than we did last season. Otherwise, I think we're done with Atletico Mineiro. And here we go with the team that we've picked for the second leg. We've gone with Keelan in the defensive midfield role alongside Silva. Negredo obviously starting because he's been the form striker that we've got this season. And Ndondo and Niagu both failed fitness tests. So this is the side we've gone with. And hopefully we can get an early goal to put us in command of the tie. Right, Perez with the ball at the back, out to Dimas. Aravena goes back to Perez. Aravena again. Dimas cutting in field. Keelan finds Aravena into Lima in the box. He scores 1-0, and that is what we were looking for. An early goal to settle the nerves and put us in front on aggregate. We just knocked it about nicely on the right hand side. Keelan finds Aravena, takes a touch, and then just slides it into the box for Lima, who made the run to fire past the keeper. Well judged pass, well judged run, and a decent finish. And they've gone along with the goal kick. Aravena picks it up. And Dimas on the right. Infield to Perez. Silva. They're letting our centre halves have a lot of the ball. And Keelan finds Dimas. Back to Perez. And Keelan down the right looks for Aravena, but it's a poor pass. And now they're breaking. We've won it back though. Landazuri over the top. Negredo from a narrow angle fires it home, but the flag's gone up for offside. Right, Garcia with the throw. Silva back to Garcia, lifts it into the box. Landazuri going away from goal, gets his head on it, but can't direct it on target. And another throw from Garcia. Back to him. Another ball into the box on his right. This one low. Lima. I mean, that's never a penalty, referee. It's been given, but we got lucky there. Aravena to take it. Dispatches it past the keeper. 2-0. gives us a bit of a cushion. And hopefully this is a sign that we're going one step further than we did last season. Just right into the corner. Keeper had no chance. Corner into the near post. And the header goes over the top. Another corner. For some reason, it's our centre-half taking them to the back post. The head is saved, and they managed to clear it out for a throw from the rebound. From the throw, though, Garcia to Silva, back to Garcia, cutting in fields, putting onto his right foot, and lifts it over the top. They've got the ball at the back. I mean, that is far too easy. And then not even a challenge on the player at the back post. So we've let him get to the byline far too easy. We've let him cut back and then swing the crossover without trying to block it. And then Dimas doesn't even get off the ground to challenge their player at the back post. Right, a throw for us past the end of extra time, but I think they're going to be down to 10 men for the second half. On a yellow card and a challenge like that. And that's a second yellow and he's off. And there we go, half-time, 2-1 up. It was all going so well until we gifted them away back in injury time there with not tracking a run, letting a cross come in, and then not challenging at the back post. But hopefully the fact that they're down to 10 men will play into our favour in the second half. Right, we made 3 changes at half-time. Couto's come on at right back for Dimas. Zaferis has come on in midfield for Keeling. And for Scalzi's come on up top instead of Negredo. None of them had a particularly good first half. And Dimas was struggling fitness-wise as well. Not an awful lot happening to begin the second half here. Vladimir with a corner for us. It's headed up in the air and then volleyed clear. Aravena chasing back to pick it up. Perez to Silva. Lima to Santiago Garcia, driving into the box on his own. The keeper turns it behind for a corner. And again, our centre-half is out taking a corner. In swing it to the near post. Santiago Garcia got his head on it. It's gone behind on the other side for a corner. Aravena to take it this time. Aims for the back post. And the head is straight on the throat of the keeper. Right, we've made another couple of changes just to get some fresh legs on. Landazuri was really struggling in the middle of the pitch. Right, Zaferis with a free kick into the box. Aravena down for Mateusao. Fiscaldi scores. Just makes it secure that we're going to be into the next round of the competition in injury time here. Just gives us that extra goal buffer. It's up in the air. It comes down. Aravena finds Mateusao, who shifts it onto Fiscaldi, who just passes it into the back of the net. And there we go, full-time 3-1 in the second leg. We're through to the fourth round. We've gone a step further than we did last season, but we're going to need to be so much better going forward once we come up against some better teams. And there we are, the end of another episode. Season 13 has begun pretty well. We've done well in the league. We did well in the state championship. We've done well in the Copa Libertadores. But those 2 performances in the Copa de Brazil, slightly disappointing. And as we said, once we come up against some better teams in the competition, we're going to need to be much better than we have been over those 2 legs. Join us next time to see how we get on in the fourth round. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you then.